Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm doing well, Ralph. How are you?
Martin, I am doing fine. I think this is the first time we're sitting together and recording a podcast.
That's correct. While looking at each other face to face.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
It's nice. It's nice.
Right.
So
who are we?
we are the Lume Plotters. So we decided to start this podcast after doing a few live videos together, and we realized that we had this knack for talking. We're both verbose people. We like talking. We like watches. We like talking about watches. Therefore, this would be a good way to spend our time. So came up with the name Lume Plotters. Of course, lume being the part of the dial that's glowing in the dark, and then the plotting, both for the plots of lume as well as the fact that we like scheming, right? We're up to no good all the time. So Lume Plotters seemed like a fitting name for us.
Yeah, that's indeed a good one, and we are planning to do a weekly podcast, but there might be more.
Let's hope.
We might have more episodes. We might have one a week, at least.
I think one a week minimum would be perfect.
And we are trying to do them in a various lengths. So depending on how much we have to talk about, it's between 5 hours and 20 minutes.
Yes, exactly.
No,
we'll try to reduce 5
it.
hours to 20 minutes, but let's hope for 30-minute podcasts. And then we should also mention, where are we?
Yeah, we are based in the Middle East. We are in the UAE. We are local here. We are not Emiratis, but we lived in this region for a very long time already.
Correct, yeah.
So how long are you here?
So I'm originally from Hungary, but I grew up in the U.S., and I've been living in Abu Dhabi for now coming up on 9 years. So it's been quite some time. And you?
I am from Germany. I'm in Dubai for the last 16 years. So yeah. That's my story there. So we are based here. We are trying to get the local flair in. We will have a lot of Arab watch collectors on the program. We will have lots of collection reviews eventually. Not reviews,
companies based in Dubai.
Yeah, talk to everything that's coming from here or the watch culture, which is very strong in that region. So
correct, yeah.
We are trying to explore this a bit and want you to come with us on that journey. Yeah, and today, of course, we're sitting here still a bit shell-shocked because the Rolex releases just came out.
Yes, just a few minutes ago, actually, both Rolex and Tudor and IWC and a bunch of other brands, Oris, dropped their new releases at Watches and Wonders. So we wanted to get a podcast out immediately, just kind of showing our reactions to these, because I think none of us have had the time to actually process what these new watches are. So we are still polarized a bit, and I think maybe we'll chill out a little bit over the next couple of days. But for now, we have live ammunition to go off of, I think.
So before we start talking about that, what are you wearing?
Oh, yes. So I am wearing my Rolex Explorer 1 36 millimeter, the 124270 reference, I believe. This is the newer 36 millimeter variant.
Very, very nice.
And you?
Suits you very well.
Oh, thank you.
I'm wearing an Explorer 2.
Explorer 2.
Yeah, and it's the Explorer 2 last year's model, so the current version. I'm not good with reference numbers, so it's...
Don't ask me. I know the reference numbers of my watches, but...
No, I forgot the reference number of that. It's the black dial version.
Yeah, which is I was looking at this one. I have very slender wrists, 6.5 inches, and I was trying on this Explorer 2, and at the 42 millimeter size is just a hair too big for me. I think the sub 40 millimeter is about as big as I can go without it looking just a little too beefy on my wrists.
Yeah. Yeah,
and you're the opposite, I guess.
Yeah, my wrists are a bit bigger, 7.25 inches or something like that, I think, and about 18 centimeters, something like this, a bit more or less, depending on how hot it is in Dubai. But my wrist is a bit flat, so that means it's not just completely round. So that means I can actually wear something.
Yeah. So I do have a round wrist, so I always have this little at 12 o'clock this hole through the bracelet that so it doesn't fit perfectly well, but. Such is life. First world problems.
Absolutely. So now today, what was the first watch we saw from the Rolex releases?
The first one that I saw was the GMT, the Yellow Gold Jubilee GMT, black dial, and I think it was an absolute stunner. I love it. I think it's fantastic. In the recent history, we haven't had any Yellow Gold GMTs. Of course, in the past, going back to the 60s, 70s, we did. I believe up until the 80s, right? I don't know how when they discontinued them. But then they, at some point, I think maybe early 2000s, they started doing only rose gold GMTs.
Right.
Submariner was allocated yellow gold, and then the GMTs were given rose gold. So if you saw precious metal, you could always tell the two apart, which one it was, based on the color of the gold. I have to mention, I am colorblind. So for me, the rose gold and the yellow gold, I do have some trouble in some brands, specifically, let's say Cartier.
All right.
I cannot tell the yellow gold and the rose gold apart to save my life. But with Rolex, they were fairly pink versus yellow, so I could tell those two apart easily. But yeah, I thought it was the Jubilee already. As most of you may know, if you don't know, Datejusts, for instance, they did for a time make fully precious metal Datejust yellow gold, which then begs the question: why would you buy a yellow gold Datejust over, for instance, a yellow gold date for the same price?
True. Doesn't
make much sense, right? So they kind of phased out the Jubilee bracelets in yellow gold for the President bracelet on the day dates. And so it's nice to see these coming back in. I think it's been about 10 years since we've seen a gold Jubilee bracelet.
Yeah, I have a feeling in general that precious metals are, of course, here to stay, especially with Rolex. I think they're trying to get the average sales price of their watches up. And,
yeah, of course.
Precious metal is one way of doing that. It's a very good way of doing this for them. To a certain extent, what's going on in the world with watch security in so many countries.
It's counterintuitive, right?
You think like, ooh, do you really want to have something flashy and gold on your wrist when you can't actually wear it outside? We are a bit spoiled here.
We should mention this in Dubai, specifically in the Middle East and UAE. You can walk out with the $500,000 Richard Mille on your hand, and no one will bat an eye. I have left watches, on tables. We saw there's a recent video. I think it was in Singapore, where a gentleman plopped down I don't remember what watch it was, but he plopped the watch down at Starbucks to save his spot while he went to the bathroom. So I mean, only in Singapore, UAE, can you pull this kind of stuff, which is quite nice.
We are very, very, very blessed here. That's something where we don't have to worry about anything
exactly
in this regard there. But in other places you do.
So. In US, for instance, there was for those of you who have watched the Hodinkee just released this new video, kind of 4 episodes of driving through America and talking to American watch collectors and American watchmakers. And in episode 3 or 4, somebody broke into their car and stole a bunch of camera gear and stuff. So immediately it gives you the sense of, okay, there's some safety concerns. But when asked, one of the collectors said, he's not able to wear his watches out.
Right.
He literally wears them around the house. And to me, that begs the question, like, then what's the point? If you physically can't go out and you cannot use your watches for their intended purpose, then what are you doing?
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think Paul Thorpe said this in one of these videos. He was on a British television show, I think it was asked about this, and he said something like, if you talk about rape and women and then saying like, women shouldn't dress like this because they are causing it. You would be in trouble saying that, because a woman is supposed to dress the way she likes without being exposed to any crime, right? So it's not.
But in the same way, the men wearing their watches, if you're wearing a solid gold Rolex.
That was his point. We should be allowed to wear what we want without being exposed to crime too, right? So this is the way I did the proper analogy, saying we can't blame the victim, right? It's not okay. So if people are saying,
True.
oh, just don't wear the watch, then wear a Casio outside. It's not the point. The point is you should not be robbed. You should not be exposed to crimes for just
for wearing your
matter
watch.
what you wear, right? Yeah. So anyhow, so we are going off on tangents.
Yes.
That's exactly.
This is kind of what we want to do, right? We're going to be the tangential crew over here. Okay.
But man,
let's talk Rolexes.
Rolex, yes. So what I mean, for me personally, I think the most surprising release was the 1908.
So bye Cellini.
Yeah. Cellini is gone.
So officially we did some searching and it seems like there is no more mention of the word Cellini on the Rolex website. It is now exclusively referred to as the 1908.
Yeah, it looks like that from what we can see right now.
Yeah, of course.
White gold case, yellow gold case, both are available. White dial, black dial, small seconds.
39 millimeters.
39 millimeters, yeah. And the biggest the
sapphire caseback.
Yeah. And a golden rotor.
And what did I say? I said, wow, this is the first Rolex ever with a display back. And Ralph corrected me that apparently, no, it's not.
Yeah, no. There was the Prince, the Rolex Prince, Cellini Prince, the square one with a manual wound movement with the 3 bridges that were visible via the caseback, which is, by the way...
But it was a manual wind.
Manual wind, yeah. Which is, by the way, a steal. You can get them for about $10,000, $20,000, $12,000 or so. They also come in precious metal, and it's just a very, very good deal. And I think a rectangular Rolex with a transparent caseback.
It is a weird oddity, right?
I guarantee you, even watch, collectors, not necessarily Rolex collectors, but general watch collectors will not think that this watch is real.
It's a weird looking watch. It reminds me of the Patek, the gondola, or what was it called? Gondola, I believe. Yeah, right. The big square Patek.
And this,
gondola.
Yeah,
you guys can come. Yeah,
but anyway,
correct us.
We have a golden rotor watch from Rolex, which looks like. I mean, we haven't seen any high resolution pictures yet,
but it's completely new movement, right? Yeah. Because everything else has a stainless rotor.
Yeah,
so this is a new,
and it looks like it's very pretty.
It is highly decorated, and this is not your usual, Submariner movement for sure.
Yeah. So that was I think the most striking one.
It was prettiest. Let's talk most attractive release. What do you think? Or should I go first? Up to you.
Most attractive as from
just in general. What do you think is out of those new watches the most attractive?
Okay, for me personally, it's the Yacht Master 42.
That's what I was going for exactly. Yes. Titanium Yacht Master 42, matte black bezel, matte black dial.
It looks
absolute
mean.
Stunner.
Yeah,
we've seen this for years now. It's been talked about for years. It was on the wrist of I don't remember the guy's name. The sailing guy, exactly. Yeah. He was a sailor, and he had it on a black NATO strap or a black nylon strap, and it looked absolutely mean. It looked so good. And so it's nice to see that. Maybe this titanium will trickle down into other models as well down the line. Who knows? But for now, I think I'm happy to see it in that. I think it's a cool watch, and I'd be interested to see it in the metal.
So would you say now? I mean, we have seen previously the Deep Sea Challenge in titanium, but this is basically the first mainstream. Correct. Volume selling watch from Rolex that will be in titanium. Do you think Rolex used Tudor with a Pelagos to check the market?
So I can't comment yet. I've said this for a while, that I think that Rolex does use Tudor as their testing bed. And remember, it's, since 2012, Tudor has been making their titanium Pelagos. So this to me is, at some point Rolex says, okay, we've done enough testing, it's fine. But what I don't know, I didn't dig too deep yet, is what grade titanium they're using for the Yacht Master. Will it be grade 2 or grade 5? Right. Tudor only uses grade 2. Grade 2 is technically a purer titanium. Yeah. However, it is if I'm not mistaken, it's softer than grade 5. Grade 5 is an alloy of titanium, but it is harder and less scratch resistant. Grade 2 is more scratch resistant. So depending on what metals they're using, who knows?
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, it's called RLX titanium.
Which by the way, RLX. For those of you that grew up in or were around in the 90s, when you say RLX, that was Ralph Lauren's sport line. Do you remember this?
No.
There was a big thing back in the 90s, like ski jackets and things, RLX written on it.
All right.
And now the fact that Rolex has taken this name RLX, it just, to me, it's
So the Yacht Master 42, the
Ralph Lauren titanium.
Right.
Exactly. I can't get past that. It's always associated. RLX is Ralph Lauren.
Yeah, it's retailing for 56,300 dirhams in our region.
Which is what in the Queen's money in
AED and USD. That's about $15,300 US.
Okay,
that's our retail price, including local taxes. So it might be different in the US. I haven't checked that yet.
US is usually they post their prices pre-tax and then you add the tax in.
So I don't know what the retail price is there, but around
$15,000, which it's interesting because is it worth it? Is the question. Remember, titanium is slightly more expensive than steel.
On the first glance, that watch looks like
a sub.
It
does. It does. So would I pay 50% more for titanium? Because all you're getting here essentially is titanium, right?
Yeah.
And a 42 millimeter case size.
It's the same movement. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit.
Is it? I don't remember off the top of my head. Date or no dates? Did they go?
Date.
Oh, so the prototype that they were testing was the no date version. I was hoping it would be a no date version, but
maybe in a year. Who knows?
I doubt it. I highly doubt it. Yacht Masters is for the guys that sit at the desks and this is the investment bankers on Wall Street. They're gonna love this watch. I think.
I think titanium. I have 2 titanium watches. And I must say, I really enjoy the lightness of it, but it is a bit of an acquired taste. You have to, the first time you pick up a watch that is made of titanium and it's very light, it feels not as luxurious somehow.
It does, because we associate luxury with this weight.
Yeah, exactly.
Gold
is heavier than steel,
Correct.
and platinum is heavier than gold.
So you have to, your mind has to readjust to this.
Yes,
It's titanium, therefore it's cool, right? I had the original Milgauss. I had it for probably about a year, and I wore it. I wore the hell out of it. Yeah. Absolutely, scratched case. Like it was a scratch magnet for sure. But because my watches are usually on straps. Most of my watches, aside from my Rolexes, are on straps. Therefore, the weight, if you have a full bracelet Milgauss versus let's say, any other watch on a strap, the weight is roughly the same. Where the weight is concentrated is different.
But with your Milgauss, were you able to brush out the
I didn't bother. I do not mind scratches. I think, once again, you should wear your toys.
But what I found is when you have brushed titanium, it scratches easy. Yeah. So you easily see little, let's say, marks on it. Mm-hmm. But, maybe I shouldn't say that, but with I think I had a Porsche design, I still have that watch, cockpit. So nice automatic watch, one of my first luxury watches from many years ago. And that watch was had a lot of scratches, and it just used a bit of a rough sponge on it.
Like the Cape Cod cloths.
Not to polish. It was actually a rough surface where you just basically brush it with something that is not buffing it, but basically the opposite. You're just
sanding it.
Rough it out. Yeah, it's a bit like sanding it. Yeah, it sounds weird, but
it does. I don't know if I would do that to my watches.
The scratches were gone, and I thought, so they're not very deep. It's just like
surface.
Yeah, because titanium is very hard, right? You're not really scratching, it deeply into the metal. So yeah. Anyhow, sorry. That's about.
So you stole this Yacht Master 42 from me. Right. So I will choose the second most. I don't know. I wouldn't say the second most beautiful watch, because I think that was the big one.
Right.
The GMT we talked about. We talked about the 1908 also. So let's talk weird oddities that we see that we weren't expecting. I have to mention I was not expecting although people have said it, a 40 millimeter Explorer 1. When I tried the 39 millimeter Explorer ones, I thought they were big already.
Yeah.
So to have a 40 millimeter Explorer dial, it's just so cavernous. It's so wide open that I have no idea, how it would wear. With a larger wrist, of course, the proportions are different. With my wrist, I don't think I could pull it off. But it's interesting. They're keeping both 36 and 40 alive. So they're going to be sold side by side. So it's interesting to see how that's going to go, if the 36 will eventually be discontinued or not. But yes, the 36 we know was not selling very well. It actually is not 36. It measures slightly smaller. I think it's 35.38, somewhere around there.
And this is the one you wear.
This is the one I'm wearing, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, on my small wrist, it's fine, but I put it side by side. I have a Datejust 36. And you can tell this is the lug to lug and everything. This is much smaller than a Datejust 36.
I found the same. My wife has small wrists, but she likes bigger watches. So she loves to wear her 36 millimeter Datejust with a palm dial. She got that. I tried that watch on because I thought, well, I think I could get away with 36 for my wrist, but it has to take some getting used to. But I always also had the two-tone Explorer one that you have in steel. I had this in the two-tone version, and I didn't warm up with it. I ended up selling it eventually because it just I didn't connect because it was just a bit too small for me. And I think, of course, the reason, a two-tone Explorer is a bit, maybe not the original purpose of an Explorer watch, to have a precious metal with it, but
so let's talk a little bit about this, though. This is one thing that really is strange to me, is the fact that they released this Explorer in 40, and everyone said, and a lot of people don't know this, there is an OP, okay, let's go back one step. OP and the Explorer 1 traditionally were made in the same case, slightly different movements. And then now,
different bracelet,
just because the OP is a 36 millimeter and the Oyster and the Explorer 1 is 36 millimeter, they are not using the same cases. We know this because the OP in 36 millimeter has a 20 millimeter lug width, and the Explorer 1 has a 19 millimeter lug width. So case is entirely different. Now, everybody was saying they are going to share cases with the OP.
Yes, I was
and
saying
they were going to go, and you mentioned this, and what happened? What size is the OP? 41.
Yeah.
And what size did they release the Explorer in? 40.
Yes.
And that, to me,
yeah, but
why?
I think it's genius.
It's genius to make, I don't know how many cases for no reason at all. You have the tooling. Use the case that's already there.
No, it's genius because you don't know what the measurements really will be. They say 40 millimeters.
It's going to be 39, isn't it?
But it's
going to be 39.
It's a typical Rolex thing. They say it's the OP41.
The Daytona, right? 40 millimeters. You measure it, it's 38.
Yeah, exactly.
So, they're calling it a 40. It's true. We haven't had it on wrist. We haven't seen this watch, so we don't know if it's actually going to be 40.
When the Datejust 2 was discontinued and they came out with the Datejust 41, and the 41 was actually that smaller than the Datejust 2.
Yep.
And you thought and it wasn't 41. It was about 40 point something, but it wasn't a 41 millimeter watch. So I think this is the Rolex sizing is always a bit challenging.
It is.
But I think 40 millimeters, again, it's not a 41. Because people say if they release the Explorer 1 in 41 millimeters.
They wanted 39. Everyone wanted the 39 back.
They wanted the 31.
And I think, once again, 40 is close to 39, right?
It's close enough.
And if we look at the overall range, I think Rolex is thinking more of the overall range here. What else can you get? Sans bezel, rotating bezel, that is, in around that size, in a 40. You have a 41 millimeter OP, and then you have a 36 millimeter. And there's nothing. There's no more 39s. Yeah. So you have nothing else. So this means this is your only option. You could actually, no, sorry. You're in front of a computer. Check me. Let's see. Is the Milgauss been discontinued? Or is it still on the website?
Oh,
because what 40 millimeter watch was there? The Milgauss.
Yes, correct.
And we did not look to see if the Milgauss is still on the website.
Let me quickly check what we have here.
Because now this could be the Milgauss case.
We have Air King.
And the Air King also. I forgot about the Air King. That thing is an interesting
Everybody
one.
expected the Milgauss to just get into the Air King case, and that's
no. We assumed that it would either get discontinued. I thought it was going to be gone.
Yeah, I thought if they're doing a new Milgauss, then it has to be something special. You can't just, I mean, all of the movements that Rolex does at the moment are more magnetic resistant than Milgauss, right?
Exactly. So if everything, Milgauss, 1000 Gauss is nothing nowadays, right? Exactly. So it was a big deal back in the 50s, but...
so yeah, there is no Milgauss on their website anymore. So that is gone. So that means...
So we don't want to speculate here, but it seems...
Yeah. So I think there might be a relaunch, maybe.
I just Googled Rolex Milgauss. The old parked Google link was there. I clicked it, and it took me to the Rolex homepage.
But not to Milgauss.
They did not take me to the Milgauss
I think that's
page.
it.
It's gone.
It's gone, yeah. I can't see it in the selection list.
Au revoir, Milgauss. Yep. Maybe next year we'll see something released.
I hope
they do like doing this. They discontinue something. They wait a couple of years and they bring it back.
I hope they do. It was a quirky watch. I really liked it. It's when the Rolex designers went out to town and just did something quirky, and the lightning arrow, second hand, and all of the stuff. It's really cool, and the different colors with the stuff. I think it will come back. Maybe end of the year, September again, when this second half of the year.
Exactly. Let's see. Remember, September we do get the second half. All right, 2 more things that I want to mention before we wrap up here.
We still have to talk about the new Daytona.
Oh yeah. No, I was going to mention 2 more before. Okay, let's do this.
Display.
I will mention the 2 things quickly that I want to mention, and then you will wrap up with the Daytona. Right. So Stella dials, or kind of like Stella dials on the day dates. We are now seeing these brightly colored. They're not really Stella, but they're brightly colored. I think there's a blue and orange dial, which is, I believe, made out of different types of rocks. Mm-hmm. Cool. Not really talk worthy, but it's cool. I like it. Moving back towards those, the heyday of Rolex. But the other thing that I want to mention is that what they're calling the OP, Oyster Perpetual, in a 41 millimeter, they're calling it the Celebration Dial. And I saw this morning. I showed my wife, and I was like, what is this? I showed you as well. Yeah. My wife immediately says, look, all the dots are the colors of the 2020 releases. And there absolutely are. The candy pink, the coral red, the green. All of these are the dots that are in this Tiffany blue dial, which is kind of cool. I didn't notice this. My wife caught this. And then Ralph, you mentioned, this looks an awful lot like the Louis Vuitton release.
Yes,
that they just had the current
LV collaboration they do with
it was a Japanese artist, I believe, right? With the dots.
Japanese artist that does the color dots everywhere.
Yes. So this does seem like
the time. I mean,
apparently color dots are in.
It's not planned, but
you heard it here first. I mean, look at it in terms of the world's design language, right? Rolex does something and Louis Vuitton does something within the same month, 2 months of each other, and that to me does say something.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to start seeing dots on our, cars on the street. I don't know, but it's dots are in.
Wrapped with
so is it safe to say we had our time when blue dials were in, then we had green dials were in, then we have Tiffany blue dials were in. Yes. Now it's dots. Dots are the next big thing.
This watch will retail at 25,600 dirhams.
If you can find one, which you won't.
If you can find it, and I think
this is going to go. We're once again celebration.
The background is looks like it's Tiffany blue.
It is. It is
Tiffany.
It is the same Tiffany blue that they had before, which already you can't tell. Absolutely. You can't find one.
Unobtainium. This watch will be
correct.
So hard to get. But anyhow,
leave it to Rolex to do an entry level watch, and it blow up like this.
Yeah, it
actually it's Omega Swatch, but
crazy. Yeah. Anyhow, so the one thing that I have to mention, we expected somehow more green, right, from a celebratory year.
Yes.
More green dials, and we got one. We got one green dial in the Sky Dweller.
Did we?
Yes, we got the new Sky Dweller dial color for the steel version, I think. And it's this mint green-ish. I don't know if they actually call it mint green. Let me just check that on the website. I do have the Sky Dweller in two-tone with a Jubilee bracelet. I love it. It's one of my favorite watches. But they also have updated the movement. It's now called the 9002 movement and not anymore the 9001 movement. So what they have done differently, I don't know. It says there's a chronology escapement. Is chronology there? No, it's not Siloxy. They have so many different escapements now. They have parachrome.
Is Siloxy? I don't think Siloxy is not an escapement, is it?
Hairspring.
It's a hairspring.
Correct.
So it is escapement. The escapement that you're mentioning is chronology. Chronology is the escapement.
Okay, Martin, Ralph, -5 points. Anyhow, so they have updated the movement. We have to dive into that for the later, what really has changed. But it has now also a green dial, and it looks pretty nice. I really like it.
I'm pulling up a picture as we speak to see.
And then
I missed this one.
And then one thing I need to get out of my system, because I just realized that, and this is because the releases literally just happened minutes ago, so we are still not gone through the entire website. The new Daytona has a new case, right? They're saying it's
yes.
Slightly up.
Larger. And it looks larger because the only reason we're saying this is because what are they calling it on the website? What millimeter? Because as I mentioned, 40 millimeter is what they called the previous gen, but it was actually measuring at 38.
Yep.
So what are they saying on the website right now for the...
Well, before I go into the measurements, I just want to read one paragraph to you, which says, on the version in 950 Platinum, recognizable by its ice blue dial, the oscillating weight is made from 18 karat yellow gold and is visible to the wearer through the transparent caseback.
I'm sorry, what?
The Daytona has a transparent caseback. What? Like, what?
All right. That is. So we missed this. We missed this basically.
Yes,
so is this only in the? I'm assuming they didn't do anything for the stainless steel.
Let me show you that. I have to just.
Wow. So hold on. This is the same rotor from the 1908.
Maybe.
No, it's not a maybe. That is the same gold rotor as the 1908.
Might be. So that movement is called 4131. And that's also new, right? Was it 4130 or was it a 4130?
So I didn't say the movement was the same. I said the rotor was the same.
It says it's an evolution of the 4130, and it's new. Major innovations that has brought movement, including the chronology escapement to reduce energy loss, Paraflex shock absorbers, blah 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 blah. No, actually, chronology escapement.
That's the original one.
Right.
That's the escapement itself is the same.
This caliber features a new aesthetic for the brand, a cutout oscillating weight, and on the bridges, an exclusive Rolex Côte de Genève decoration.
In which color?
A reinterpretation of an iconic finishing in traditional Swiss watchmaking.
What do you
mean, which color?
Which metal? Which metal is
platinum?
In platinum. So I'm looking here on the configurator, and platinum does not exist. Okay. So we cannot configure a platinum Daytona for some reason.
I think it's probably.
So this means, and I looked 40 millimeters still for the others.
Still 40 millimeter, but the case is redesigned. They're saying here that the case is redesigned. It looks to me, again, and we have to confirm that in person or with more videos of people who actually handle the watches. It's still rounded, the case. It doesn't have the slab sides like the new Air King, right?
Okay, yeah. No,
my Explorer 2 here is very straight sides. There's no more rounding, but this one is a bit rounded, and it's but I think it's a bit less rounded than it used to be.
So I'm curious if they got rid of, if you know the previous Daytonas in the, I think it was only if you got the stainless steel version, it had that strange effect where the lug on the left side was longer than the lug on the right side.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if they're going to once again switch any of this, but we don't know if this is the redesigned case is only for the platinum or if it is for the entire model line, because I'm looking through and as it stands For the rest of the model line, it seems like nothing has changed. They still have the yellow gold and two-tone without the ceramic caseback, without the ceramic bezel, which to me, if they're going to update, then I would say they're going to put a ceramic bezel on those models, on the two-tone yellow gold, for instance.
Yeah. They have on their website, they have an overview now of all the new models, which is pretty cool. I just found that. So we have the new Daytona in platinum, right?
Yep.
The new model. We have a new Sky Dweller versions in white gold, oyster flex, the new dial, which is cool. We have the new GMT Master 2.
Yep.
Black bezel,
which with the correct.
And yellow gold, which is, as you already described. A new Everose Daytona on oyster flags. New Datejust 36 in Everose gold. Two-tone. At least it says here new model. I don't know exactly what is new.
What's new about it?
The new Daytona, the steel version. So that even the two-tone steel versions have continue to not have a ceramic bezel.
So I'm looking right here. I have the full model line for the Daytona in front of me, and I'm looking at the casebacks. So I'll show you here as well. If you look at the gold, they are solid. If you look at the platinum, it is transparent. So this new case that they're talking about is only for this new platinum model.
So do you think, do the new models also have the 4131 movement? Or does only the platinum version get this movement?
It's an excellent question. We'll have to see. I'm assuming, Rolex, when they introduce new movements, they like to do it in low quantities first to test them out, and then they'll pump them in. So maybe they're going to later on put them into the...
The next one, I think, just to finish our Rolex releases when we are over time, is the day dates. 36 millimeter stone dials.
Yep.
Beautiful dials.
Cool stuff.
I think these dials look stunning. I didn't think that I would ever like stone dials, especially looking at the older ones.
Dials, yeah.
They have beautiful ones in history. They made fantastic ones, but
the meteorite, for instance, has never attracted me. A meteorite dial.
Meteorite as the idea that you have something that's
cool,
older than
but when
Earth,
you look at it, it's just not that good. But when you go back to like the onyx dials of the old day dates, those are so cool. And the lapis lazuli, I mean, those are absolutely stunning dials.
Yeah. So I think we have so many new models. We just had to mention the day date as well. Did we forget something?
The Explorer, of course, we mentioned the bigger Explorer.
I think we have then covered everything.
So the big thing here, the takeaway for me, going forward, is transparent casebacks for Rolex? ?
Yeah.
It seems like now there's two models, the 1908 and the Platinum Daytona, that have transparent casebacks. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is going to move forward like this.
I think this is
it's definitely from left field.
Yeah. And generally, when you can always say Rolex releases are iterative, right? There's a new color, new metals, new different strap options, like you have an Oyster Flex now here or something like that. But I think this is big news.
It is. I didn't think they would ever do it.
This odd version.
Do I want it? No, absolutely. Yeah, it comes down to, do I want a transparent Rolex caseback? No, I don't. Absolutely not. One of my things that I like about Rolexes are these steel casebacks. I don't want any writing on it. I like that it's plain, sterile, and that is an attractive thing to me.
I like to see the movement,
but here's the thing: is you and I disagree. I like the smaller watches. It fits me better. You like the bigger watches. I like steel, non-transparent casebacks. You like transparent. I don't like date windows. You like date windows. Yeah. So this is why this is going to be an interesting podcast, because we are going to argue about a lot of things, and
nobody sees the caseback when you're wearing it. It's only for you.
Yes, it is. But I still feel that a watch becomes less tool-like.
I agree with
as soon as you put a clear caseback on it. It's for a dress watch, I don't mind. Okay. But if you're saying, here's my 300-meter dive watch with a see-through caseback, I'm going to start second-guessing the depth rating on that.
Right.
And, of course, there's no reason to. It's just subconsciously, glass is not a very hard substance, which, once again, is not necessarily the case because sapphire is second to diamond in the hardest, when we talk about scratch resistance, but still.
Wow.
Who knows?
Yeah. Overall, I think I didn't expect so many new things from Rolex. This has, even with the leaks we had before, that blew me away a bit.
Yeah.
To
Cool.
see this kind of releases, they're firing on all cylinders, I would say.
I think so.
It's just like they're really killing it. These are all surefire hits. I think there's nothing that really.
I mean, that's the thing is
Wow.
surefire hits, but then again, Rolex could release a the ugliest, most ridiculous watch, and people would still buy it.
Yeah. But so
it's the Apple philosophy, right?
Yeah.
This is what Apple does. You release a purple iPhone, and everyone stands in line for it.
Yeah. Okay. We still have to go through the details, but man, the Sky Dweller is completely new. The entire line, everything has a new movement. The Daytona line is new movement, new case shape. Wow, this is
cool.
Wow.
I like it.
It's not just.
All right, what are you putting your money in? Let's wrap up. Let's say you have whichever one you have infinite funds. You get to buy one watch out of this new collection. Which one is it going to be?
That's very tough. I mean, to be honest, I think I would probably go for this Platinum Daytona if I had the funds there.
I'm going to go with the Yellow Gold GMT.
Yeah,
that's cool. On the Jubilee bracelet.
But on the other hand,
or maybe one of the rock dials or whatever, the stone dials.
If I have to go sensible choice.
No, why would we do that?
Yeah. It would be the Yacht Master.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Yacht Master. That's so cool.
I'm still thinking that this is from a more approachable than a Platinum Daytona, which is of course, who can get that watch, right? But that might be more approachable.
No, I think
something you can settle on.
No, when we say approachable, it's still not going to be approachable. You're not going to get one in the AD, but I think you're more likely to get yourself a gold gold GMT than either of the two models you're mentioning.
Yeah, so that's it. That's a wrap, right?
All right.
Thanks for listening and hearing our first rambles.
So we're going to do a discussion of the Tudor releases as well. So stay tuned for that. That's coming next.
The initial reactions.
Yes.
And then we might have a digestive one after.
Later in, exactly. Just kind of thinking about everything, maybe a week or so after we've digested.
Yeah. Alrighty.
So thanks again for tuning in, and we hope to see you in the next episode.
Thank you, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.